TikTok is currently facing off against the federal government in court as they fight to keep their platform operational after the Biden administration forced them to either sell or shut down. Pick this up. We've told this, we've gone through this story again and again. You know what struck me? Is that we're talking about TikTok and their foreign ownership. Headline, buddy, Politico, foreign owned. Politico. We're going to do the same thing to Politico? Spotify, foreign owned. Are we going to do the same thing to Spotify? This has just gotten so cranked out of control to where these people actually believe they can do this. And any federal judges are going to say, wait a second, you're anticipating that TikTok is going to do something wrong. At this point, they've said there hadn't been anything done wrong.
Right.
But we're anticipating that it might be. We're anticipating that they're going to take all this information that they're scraping off, the same stuff that Facebook scrapes off, the same stuff that Instagram scrapes off, and somehow the Chinese are going to use it. That's their argument.
Well, and the argument from the lawyers for the government is it's okay when American companies take your data because they can sell it. You know, we use it for targeted advertisements and things like that. But they said the problem is that same data is extremely valuable to a foreign adversary trying to compromise the security of the United States.
They can buy it right now.
Exactly.
China can buy every bit that Facebook has scraped away from everybody watching this program or Instagram. You don't think these folks are doing the same thing? They're taking everything they can. All of China's got to get on the phone. Hello, Instagram, I'd like to buy all your data. They'd have exactly the same thing.
Exactly, but I think it's just so insane that the federal government's lawyers have walked into this court, in front of this 3-judge panel, and said, listen, it's okay when we do it. Mm-hmm. There's no problem with that. And to their credit, the lawyers working for TikTok and the plaintiffs, the other plaintiffs, because there's other people that are involved in this lawsuit, but those lawyers pointed out, okay, well, Politico, that's owned by a foreign country. Spotify, as you said, it's owned by a foreign country. Why are you targeting us? Is this about really working for national security, or is this just because you don't like this company or this country? Because you cannot legislate based on your animosity towards one country.
You know who's really trying to put them out of business? Is corporate media.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you know why that is, right? We talk about this all the time. We have come up, you and I have come up for 20 plus years doing stories that corporate media refuse to do.
Yeah.
Because their corporate advertisers wouldn't let them do it. Whether it's a drug that's killing people, whether it's mom and pop having all their money stolen from banks in New York, whether it's a company like DuPont or 3M destroying entire ecosystems, we would try to go on the air and tell those stories. I can't even count the number of times that we were stopped. Matter of fact, I got a call from Washington Post doing a story about, the threat of Russia's speech and asking me, well, what was your experience with that? And I said, here's my experience. The only time I've been censored by trying to tell a story about corporate malfeasance is on MSNBC. Or, any of the cable stations. You can't tell those stories. I remember one story we did on, do you remember the Yellowwood story?
Yep.
Okay, so the Yellowwood story, I'm trying to tell the story about a company that has arsenic all over their wood, and that they want to take that wood and they want to make it into children's playground equipment. So I go on the story, do the story. They want me to come back and apologize the next day. They almost fired Joe Scarborough over it.
Yeah.
Because he was doing the interview. And I said, hell no, I'm not going to come back and apologize. Are you kidding me? But that's corporate media. So they hate that we can tell these stories through TikTok.
Yeah.
Or YouTube or wherever it may be. They want to accomplish the demise of TikTok, but they're not paying much attention to Facebook or Instagram.
Right, and to be honest, even with TikTok, we have run into situations where our stories, Johnson & Johnson, the most recent one we did, we put it on TikTok, and then TikTok comes back and says, hey, this violated community guidelines, very vague. So our guys dig in more with them and they say, can you give us specifics? What is wrong about this story? And they said, well, it's not true. And there was another one too about another law, the baby formula lawsuit as well.
Baby formula killing kids all over the country.
Yeah.
Preemie children dying from baby formula. And whoever the nut jobs are with TikTok and all of them. I mean,
Yeah, Facebook did the same thing.
Facebook, we can't let you tell that story. Really?
They say, oh, it's not true. And you personally, you've got the documents showing how true it is.
Well, not only there's verdicts in court on Johnson & Johnson. There's jury verdicts against the baby formula companies.
So these same outlets, unfortunately, are moving more towards that corporate
that scares
model.
me. Well,
but right now they are far more free. We do have more leeway to say what we need to say on these platforms than we would on corporate media. But who knows how long that'll last?
Well, corporate is ahead of it now. Corporate media, the way they got the Johnson & Johnson story pulled, where the talc is killing women with cancer. I mean, horrible deaths. And they got their people to call in and say, this isn't true, this isn't true. Well, nobody took a minute to say, hell yes, it's true. It's all over the media. Trials have proven it. And yes, this is true. Instead, they just pull the story and say this is out of line.
And you guys got to strike, and if you get two more, we kick you off the platform.
Yeah. Well, I've got something planned for it if they do it again. I've got a little bit of surprise for TikTok. But the point is, you don't shut them down.
Right. They do not deserve it.
A pro-business front group is creating classroom materials for teachers across the country. But these materials won't teach about civics or math. They're teaching the corporation lingo, the corporation talking points about why high taxes on corporation are so bad for everybody, how it's going to affect mommy and daddy and children. And they're teaching this in school, K1 through 12. They're creating this agenda, actually teaching this to kids. Don't tax corporations. It's going to hurt you.
Yeah, look, I have the utmost respect for teachers in the country. My wife is an educator. I've got other members of my family that are educators. But at the same time, and I know this from them, there's also plenty of other educators out there that are lazy. And that is exactly what the Tax Foundation is taking advantage of.
Explain that.
So this group, the Tax Foundation, which of course is funded by all the usual suspects, Chamber of Commerce, big soda, big fossil fuel companies, every
pharma.
Who's who of corporations. They create these lesson plans that teach businesses do better when there are lower taxes. The consumers can pay higher taxes, but the businesses need lower taxes.
Well, give them the reasons. I mean, what is it actually saying? What is the logic of why don't let corporations pay taxes?
Yeah, if the corporation pays higher taxes, we're going to have to cut jobs. And then that's going to hurt the overall economy. You don't want to be unemployed, high school senior, entering a job market. No. So you need corporations to have lower taxes. And the problem is, as I said, these are actual lesson plans that they are prepackaged. They hand them to the teachers. And these teachers who shouldn't be educators to begin with, they're not doing their own homework. And they say, oh, wow, I don't have to make a lesson plan for the next 3 weeks because the Tax Foundation just handed it to me. Hell yeah, I'm going to do
moreover,
this.
there's teachers out there who are going to agree with this.
Oh, that's true too. But it's propaganda. It's pro-business propaganda from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, it's nothing but propaganda. The advocates say that we should slash all the taxes on investors where it comes to capital gains. We need to really cut that in half or make it disappear. That a flat tax is a better idea. Make everybody pay the same tax. Do away with estate taxes. Do away with companies that are buying their stock back. You can't. Right now we can tax that. They want to do away with the company's right to even buy their stock back. But what's so amazing is they're having some success with this. And this is an organization that's been around a very long time.
Yeah,
right?
about 100 years almost, the Tax Foundation.
Yeah, but this is, I guess, as far as I know, this is their first foray into trying to teach our kids that taxes are bad if you tax corporations.
In the last school year, which, we're coming up on a new one very soon, but in the last school year, more than 1,500 classrooms in this country taught tax EDU lessons in their classroom. And these kids don't know that they're getting propaganda at all. They just think, oh, if I'm being taught this, this is obviously the unbiased truth because that's what students believe. That's what they should be getting is an unbiased truth.
Right. Get them when they're young.
Yep.
Make them into little conservatives when they're
Yeah,
young.
a bunch of little libertarians, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
It's even worse.